Canine Detection Collaborative, a detection dog training trio with Stacy Barnett.
Hi.
Robin Grubel.
Hey there.
And Crystal Wing.
What's up?
With humor and a big dose of theory, our trio talks practical training advice and features interviews with top trainers and scientists. It's Canine Detection Collaborative.
Welcome back to Canine Detection Collaborative. I am one of your hosts tonight, Crystal Wing, and I'm here with amazing Stacy Barnett.
Hello.
And the fantastic Robin Grubel.
Hello.
How did you pick on the amazing versus the fantastic?
I know.
It's the first thing that popped in my brain, honestly. I've been saying amazing a lot lately, and then I thought, well, I should say something different besides amazing twice. And my other word I sent in a bunch of emails today was especially. So things are very especially today.
Okay.
It was like, I think 3 emails in a row, and I think I had at least 9 especiallys.
That's a lot.
It's a lot of especiallys. You didn't expect that answer, did you?
Well, but
No.
it kind of goes into our whole topic for today.
Oh, does it now? And that topic would be
Words matter.
Words matter.
Stacy, where were you?
I know. I was like, oh, I'm a little sorry. I'm playing there.
But also silence matters too. So maybe that's what you're playing with a little bit, the pause.
No, I think I was just tired.
Oh, okay.
Let's just be real here.
The delay.
Yeah, a little delayed.
We were talking earlier, and because we never plan too far in advance. And,
hey, half hour is plenty of time. I'm sorry.
Plenty. As I said, hey, I'm going to take a quick nap. But yeah, we thought about, the idea that words matter, and then that can go in so many directions. And so Robin said that she would like to start us off on some ideas of how words matter in her life.
Well, the first one, if you've taken especially some of the train final response class stuff with me, you know that I make all of my students define exactly what the behavior is they're looking for. Because if you don't write it down, you're not going to necessarily look for that. And it's also one of the reasons I have students articulate to me when we're getting ready to run a problem, what exact behavior that they're looking for. Because if you don't articulate it, you have this horrible thing called scope creep. And you start adding on all of these additional things into your behaviors.
Yeah.
Did you say scope creep?
Scope creep.
Oh,
Scope creep.
It's a
creepy scopes.
It's like what happens when you've written out this is your goal, and then you start creeping off of it, kind of like how a dog who's supposed to do a downstay starts creeping.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait, that happens? That's not just my dogs that do that?
No.
I thought that's how you teach crawl.
That could work that way too. So, it's the whole concept of words matter in your dog training. I mean, Crystal, you taught me a big one this summer that for the location specific markers, that those words matter to your dogs. And unfortunately, now you've taught me. So now they matter to my dogs. And watching Sheba run out and expect a fur ball sitting at her cone for a go out, and to watch the change in her behavior because I'd done like 5 repetitions where there was always a fur ball out there, and I put cookies out there. And to see the change in her behavior to go from a fur ball to cookies, it was like I just shot an arrow through her heart. And
was she disappointed, or
she was
she
highly disappointed?
Yes.
Well, and how do I know that she's disappointed? I can't say, okay, she was disappointed because, oh my God, she was sulky, blah, 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 blah.
She looked
What I can say is she ignored the treats and continued to hunt because she was looking for her fur ball.
That's called a busted Labrador right there.
I know.
Busted.
So,
Broken Labrador.
She was just like, hey, the cookies are not awesome. I'm looking for the fur ball. And I started putting out the smaller, tinier fur balls. And so she hunted all around the cone for the fur ball and then was like, okay, fine, I'll eat the cookies. Now I'll come back.
And that is why I like the location specific markers. If no one, someone's not informed about them, it just lets the dog know either for some people, it can be what reward they're going to get, or it can be where they're going to get it. So maybe something as simple as saying bowl, let your dog know that the reward is going to be in the bowl. And so instead of just saying yes, so yes means it can be maybe from anywhere or okay, or whatever word you use. And so now it just lets them know exactly where it is. And then some people, crazy pants like me, will use different words if it's going to be a toy or food because of what you just said. So if I say face, it means stay where you are. And I'm bringing the toy all the way to you and putting it in your mouth. And it's the most fun game we have ever played. Or if I say food, it means that I'm going to bring the food to you, stay where you are. So it's the same stay behavior for them, knowing the reward is coming, but they're expecting either a toy or food based on which word I say. And like you said, that communication is so important because they have expectations. When if you say yes, and then you don't know if you're getting a fur ball or food, and you don't really know what they expect, but now it's a little clearer. So words matter in that way. And then some people will tell me, well, how do you remember all these words? Because I have quite a few now, but I only make them based on what I find that I need. And I don't like pre-plan them necessarily. It's just one of those where I go, oh, that'd be nice if I had something that meant get the toy behind you. And so if that helps me in my training, then I'll just teach it real quick, because you can teach the marker words so fast. I mean, they're all so reinforcing. So the dog is like, oh yeah, I got that one. So it's the words will help you clean up your expectations so the dog understands what they're going to get out of the deal. And it's just not a disappointment then.
And I'm going to jump in on that one too and say your words matter for when you're using a word as a conditioned reinforcer, in the sense of how long is it and all of these other things, because I know people who are like, well, I'm just going to use good boy or good girl as my conditioned reinforcer word. And I was like, can you say that when you're out of breath and without taking a breath? Because if you can't, then your timing's going to be off.
Yep. Or muddy.
It's going to be muddy. And so, and the other thing don't use okay. Please don't. So you use it a lot.
Okie dokie.
I do for certain circumstances. I do. Yeah, I do.
I've broken myself of the habit, and I'm now on the generation of dogs that does not use okay, because I had. And
okay.
Yeah. And I had okay.
Okie
Okay.
And I had okay.
Everybody who's heard me with my diatribe, okay, find another. Yeah. It's actually a release cue off of after I reward.
And that's okay.
Release cue. Yeah. That's okay. Right. So what, and this is what I use it for, other than the fact that I say, okay, you can eat out of your bowl now, but I also use it as we are finished with rewarding this hide, so that the dog starts to understand that hide is complete, and they can disengage from that hide in order to find another hide, which could be in close proximity. Otherwise, they could end up getting so into the one hide because they just keep wanting that reinforcer that they have a hard time finding the close proximity hide. So that's why I use the okay. Because it's easy.
It's okay.
It's okay. I just say, okay, find another. And they go, okay.
Oh, they say, okay. You taught them to say, okay. Wow. So I'm just thinking, in competition, when you go out there and, they say, are you ready? And you're like, okay. And the dog's like, wow, where's my toy? Like, we're not that okay.
like,
Yes.
there's
And
the
so
other one,
then-
right?
Yes,
Yes.
the other one I tend to
Yes. And
avoid.
the dog goes, okay. Sorry.
So when people ask me, like, how do you remember all these words? How do you keep them straight? I thought the same thing when I listened to people because they would have all kinds of words. And I thought, how in the world do you remember that? I have to keep it super simple. So, like I said, face and food. So, face, I'm taking it to his face, and food, I'm bringing food to your face. I'll say get it, which means I'm going to throw something. Take means take it off the floor. So I try to use words that make sense to me. It's the first thing that comes to my mind when I want them to do that behavior. If I want them to go away from where they are, I use the word away. So if you're thinking about adding some different words in for clarity, make it easy on yourself. Use words that make sense to you. And also think about the similar sounding words. We've had that happen a few times where maybe the dog's name also sounds like one of the words you use for a cue.
Mhm.
And then, they're like, I don't understand why it's so hard for this dog to learn this thing. Oh, well, listen to the words and maybe you'll see the similarities because, as we know, words aren't their first form of communication. That's us,
Right.
They get pretty good at it's amazing actually how many words they can learn. I'm just constantly amazed.
Oh, here's one of my favorite games I used to play with Quinn.
Yeah.
Ollie goes, shh, p, s. And just the very beginning of the word is all it took. So if I went, shh, he'd stand, he'd sit, and he would down real fast.
So I bet he just had multiple cues for those behaviors.
What do
The
you
reason why I'm saying this is because I've been working on stays with powder.
Uh-huh.
And I use this just in preparation for start line stays with agility, right? Because she has to have criteria. Otherwise, she's just going to get herself killed. So, this words matter, right? Criteria, because it's just another word for criteria with our dogs, right? It's specificity, right?
Yes.
So what I've been doing is she's at the back door and she has to sit and I have the door open and she sees her green soccer ball or whatever she wants. She's quivering, right? So she's there. And now her release word is okay. And so Robin's over there twitching. I think she's going to have convulsions or something. And so what I do is I start saying like words. Oklahoma. Oh, I'll just start whatever,
Uh-huh.
right? And then, if I get really I just throw out things that just sound very similar. You can see her just kind of do like a half, like she's kind of pushing forward, like, was that it? Was that it? Was that it? And then I go, okay. And she's like, boom, right out the door, like a missile.
I'll play that, but I
so-
typically use words that don't sound like it.
Well, no, I was like, I did start and I got on a Thanksgiving food. I was like turkey,
Uh-huh.
potatoes. And then I started to just try to make word that sounded like okay. And just to see if she could see the difference. And she did actually. She was really good. But she's very, very much, she's very literal. So she's like, no, that's my word. I just go on that word, but then I go like a bullet.
And I think that those types of things are really good. When you're, for me, that's absolutely relevant when you're teaching dogs to do a stay.
Yeah.
Like that. When you're doing a 5-minute downstay out of sight for your FEMA level certificate.
Oh, no. This is an active stay.
But it's okay.
Yeah.
But that is something,
Yeah.
those are the types of the little things that you can do that cross over into those
Yes.
big behaviors
Yes.
that people don't seem to either take the time to do sometimes or understand how even putting in that type of stuff
Yeah.
helps build the other behavior.
And then the other thing is that it's not just the word, right? It's also your movement.
Yes.
So what I could do next is start to go out the door myself. Or I could open or close the door faster, slower,
Mhm.
You also want to pay attention. These are all different cues that we don't even think about, right? Duration. A lot of times because we're very pattern oriented as a species, So are dogs. So the amount of time that, like, if I open the door, the amount of time I make her wait before I say, okay, right, is, if I'm not careful and I keep it the same, she's going to start going off of the duration rather than going off of the cue.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. So I want to ask you both a question. When you are, how do I ask this? Without using a verb. What verb?
Wait, what?
I know.
Use your words. Use your words.
I know. They matter.
Use your words. They matter.
What verb do you use when you are trying to create a behavior with your dog?
Oh, what behavior?
Are you asking them? Are you telling them? Are you requiring them? Are you demanding them? Like, I am blank my dog to sit.
I say ask.
Okay.
I'm asking her to sit.
Okay, Robin, what's your verb?
It depends.
It does depend. It is. If it's a safety issue, then
there are versions of,
yeah.
And it also depends on where the dog's at in its training.
Yep.
The puppies, to a certain extent, it's a sit. It's a, do you know this word? So it's a cue.
So you're asking?
I'm asking. Then we go all the way over to, I guess there's the asking. Then there's the cueing of, I know you know it.
So I'm going to telling.
It is a telling.
Demanding.
But
requiring.
Then I go further into the requiring aspect of, I need you to sit. And it actually becomes out very enunciated, and he's usually ended up with like the death mommy glare. To go along
the
with
other
it.
cue, the other cue that goes, it's the, I'm going to stare through your soul with my eyeballs.
Yes, that one,
okay.
the border collie eye thing. Yes.
Yep.
And so all of that together.
All of our mothers all had that.
Yes. And you practice it regularly on the dogs. And so it matters that one word could be a sit, or it could be all the way over to a sit, your world's going to come to end if your butt doesn't hit the floor. And so some of it depends on what we're trying to work on. And if I also know that through them giving me enough repetitions that they actually do understand what sit means. They may not know what sit stay means or sit and hold the position, but they know that the butt hits the floor.
So it's interesting to think in the teaching phase, we're more asking.
Yes.
But you would think that we're setting it up in such a way that we're creating an environment that they're going to do the thing.
Yeah, I'm seeing, I don't know if this is where you're going, but I don't know if I ever get out of asking, to be honest with you. I'm only thinking about it in terms of, okay, so I did rally yesterday with why, right? So this may also be dog dependent. So with like why, oh gosh, I can't do anything but ask, because if I do any more than ask, it's just going to be like, all right, I'm tapped out. Like, no, the answer is just, I can't do anything because now I'm going to be in a puddle of emotional mess here. So I guess what I try to do is if I can leverage the engagement of my dog and with an ask, I'm much more likely to get compliance because I think it's fun. So that's kind of where I usually go.
Dog dependent and activity dependent.
Yes.
And learning phase dependent. So all the things that I'm hearing.
Yes.
So I'm also hearing that
dependent.
There's inflection in how the words are being used.
Yep.
So the sit versus sit. Also, I'll hear a lot of trainers that say if they're going to teach a sit, even if it's in the beginning or even as it's finished, it's still sit moving upward and it's down moving downward as just kind of verbal,
That's
helps.
true. If you go downward, it's like you really need to sit now.
So when it becomes sit.
And I can say that with my girls, like if they're just like completely like bonkers and totally misbehaving. And I'm like, look, I can't handle you barking in my ears anymore. So you need to sit. We have that conversation every so often, like every morning when I'm trying to feed
I
them.
have a knock it off, which if you've ever been around my house,
I usually add an expletive in there, but since we're trying to avoid the explicit, I won't tell my whole phrase, but
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
I can't imagine what you're saying.
It is a major F-bomb.
Could you message me that so I understand?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. I appreciate
Yeah.
that. Okay, here's my next question for you then. So sit, down, stand, stay, all those words. What are those?
those are labels that we have.
No, just give me one word. Don't define it. Give me one word. What do you call those?
Those are cues.
You call them cues. Okay. Stacy, what do you call them?
I thought I was sitting here going, is that a trick question?
No.
I'm like
No.
I've got
No,
the Jeopardy song going on in my head.
What do you call those?
Cues?
Cues. Okay. I was just curious. So like some people
Upward
call them,
inflection
well,
of
no,
like,
some people
is
call them
this the answer you're
commands.
looking for?
Some call them,
Yep.
there's lots of different words that you can use. And I think that also has something to do with how you perceive your training
Okay.
and perceive your interactions with your dog. Fanny calls them green lights, and I love that so much. And I
Yes.
have just, I adopted that and believe that hardcore. So, I mean, it's kind of weird to say green lights, but just the idea that the dog is begging you so hardcore to do the thing, and that's the green light. So it's not just that it's asking a question, but the dog is begging you to do the thing that finally when you say sit, they're like, yes, I get to do it.
Actually, if I heard from my van, I heard my van commanding to me to do the thing.
Exactly.
Because I had one dog out and the other one's commanding. All the turns, I get all the turns. That's all I gotta do. So it's definitely the dog's commanding that.
What about labels that you give others? Do you think that those labels have a big impact?
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because I've been thinking about that a lot at distraction camp. There were a couple trainers that were saying something and I'm like, you are a trainer.
Yeah.
And the face that she gave me was like, what? Yeah, you're
Yes.
a trainer. And it's
Yeah.
that moment when someone goes, oh, holy cow, I guess I am. And I think it helps you recognize your role. And I think if we can step back and kind of understand what our roles are and be a little more reflective on that at times, I think that can also help. I mean, even as an art teacher, I'll get the kids that are like, well, are you a teacher? I'm like, well, I'm an artist. I'm an art teacher. I'm a dog trainer. And they're like, oh, you have so many labels. Labels, I think, can also be helpful to help you identify where your strengths are as well. So yeah, I'm a dog hobbyist or enthusiast or dog owner, or no, I'm a dog trainer. And that's a shift. And that's something that I think a lot of people could make that shift right now in the way they think about themselves. And they just haven't thought about it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
This is one of the questions that when everybody comes and trains with us eventually, hopefully, that I ask people to really think about when we start off the training, whatever training it is. I am a dog trainer. I had somebody ask me some questions about a year ago that I really was like, wow, no, I actually train dogs. That's what I do. I train dogs. And I have run into a lot of people who are like, no, I'm just a handler. And
I hate that word just.
You're not
Yeah.
just anything.
I hate the word just.
Right.
I hate it.
And the other thing to think about is who is the person training your dog?
Yeah.
Unless you are purchasing a pre-trained dog that somebody else trained, you are responsible for training your dog. So therefore, by extrapolation, you are a dog trainer.
Yep.
And I am a dog trainer every single time I am interacting with my dog, unless I'm on a deployment or I've been hired to go clear a building. Then I am a canine handler.
And if you're an instructor, you're teaching somebody to train their dog.
Exactly. And so that's why those labels actually matter. And they happen to make a difference on how much responsibility you start taking for your own training.
Yeah.
And taking for I was thinking as I was coming down the stairs to sit down and do the podcast that, you know what, tomorrow is going to be one of the really nice last days that we have for a while. And tomorrow afternoon, when I get home from running errands before, like the Deathly Hallows comes, because we're now in daylight savings time, that I need to get out and I need to do some training with the dogs, doing send outs and go outs and stuff like that, because I need to do some drills. I need to be a trainer instead of just sitting at my computer being a, keyboard warrior and talking about training. I need to go do it.
Yeah. The other, just going back to the words matter, because I do the bulk of my instruction online, right? So I have lectures that I have to write, and looking at videos and having to give feedback, I have to be specific. And that's where the words really come into play, right? So,
and feedback that is written.
Yes.
Because that person will go back and reread it 500 times and it becomes ingrained into their soul.
Yes. And it has to be accurate, right?
Correct.
So I also, probably because of my educational background, I'm trying to be very specific when it comes to things like odor movement and odor behavior, or air movement, air behavior, right? Which is odor, right? So if I'm not specific, I can't communicate to my students what's actually going on in a way that they can understand. So you have to be consistent with how you use words so that people can understand and people can learn from it.
I absolutely agree with you. And that's one of the reasons sitting on the Academy Standards Board.
Yeah.
Right. There is a whole lexicon basically now of all of the terminology that is being used on the professional detection dog side of the planet.
Yep.
We can link to it in the show notes. So that, because when you talk to different people across the United States, even, we won't even talk about outside the United States because, we're Americans, so everything revolves around us. And
that's a joke, by the way.
That's a joke.
That's a joke.
Total joke.
Words matter,
she's
Robin.
laughing. I didn't want anybody to really take that
joking.
seriously.
It doesn't. We know this because all of us are current on current affairs. So
yeah. No, we love our international.
We do.
Oh my gosh, really, you guys, move on.
And, so
I just like, I'm like, all of a sudden I'm like,
oh no, that was
I
a
have
total
a point.
joke.
When you're done, I have a point about this. So go ahead.
And but when you started talking to people in the Eastern United States, they would use the word indication. When you talked to people in the Central United States, they would use alert. When you talked to people on the Western United States, they might use change of behavior or something. And it was like this big, huge, muddy mess. Nobody actually knew what anybody else was talking about. And, the whole conversation, is it lingering? Is it residual? Is it all of these things that we finally put together? And it's ever evolving. So don't have heartburn if some term is in there that you don't like. But it gives us a common reference now to look at, which is highly important.
Yep.
So something I wanted to kind of point out is that intent. When you know the person and you're sitting there talking to a friend, they know your intent. They know that you're on their side and you have that relationship built. And in something like this, where we're talking to each other, I have to remember sometimes that you guys completely know my intent. Like even when I say something silly or kind of off the wall, that my intent is from my heart in a good place.
Yep.
But then I forget sometimes when there's like 1,000 downloads in a week. Holy crap. How does that keep happening?
I know, right?
That all of these people are listening. And I think, they don't know me. They don't know that my intent is kindness and good. And
I think they know.
well, I hope
They
so.
know.
But like
Yeah.
if you don't know the person though, you just don't really know.
And that's very true.
Yeah.
But we listening to podcasts and gives you the ability to at least hear the inflection in a voice.
Yeah.
Right.
When you start typing out feedback.
Oof.
Yes.
That's why I use Loom. I'm telling you, when I switched to Loom, that made my life so much better that I could be able to talk and they could hear exactly in the moments that it was happening and they could hear my voice. And so, because, I started reading some of the things back and I thought, oh, no, that came out wrong. Because when I get that response and I'm like, that's not what I meant.
Careful with words and everything when I'm doing feedback. And so then I add in the little smiley face so that, you have
please take this in the little face with all the hearts around it. This is a caring, I believe in you face.
Exactly. Yes. So it's kind of like, obviously it's said with, good emotions and stuff like that. So
where the words really matter is kind of how we speak to ourselves when it comes to how we train, how we interact with others. And
our mental management before we go.
So much. Yeah. And those internal words can be so empowering and they can be so devastating.
Yes.
And you guys know about the locus of control, the experiment with the kids where they tell some of the kids they're smart and other kids that they're hard workers.
No.
You know about that? So just a real quick.
Sorry, I'm not highly educated other than
okay. So those words right there.
They didn't make us take anything any kind of I literally had 2 semesters of English and then they were like, oh, you don't need any more than that. You're an engineer. So not required.
Well, there was an experiment by Stanford physiologist Carol Dweck, and she was demonstrating, it's in a book, Smarter, Faster, Better. So this experiment gives students and 5th grade students a series of challenging puzzles. So they were all told, you did good. Half of them were told they must have worked hard at solving the problem. The other half were told you must be really smart for solving the problem. So based on that, what do you think happened when they gave the kids the second round of puzzles? Because they gave them an option of easy puzzles or harder puzzles. So the kids that you said, you're really smart, which puzzles do you think they chose? The easy ones or the hard ones?
Words matter.
Okay, so the hardworking kids, what do you think what do you think the hardworking kids, which ones did they choose? The easy ones or the hard ones?
The hard ones.
Stacy, what do you think?
I don't know the right answer. I'm so
You don't have to know the right answer. This is just a guess. What does your intuition say?
Oh, you're making my brain hurt. Sorry.
Okay, I'll let you off the hook.
Thank you.
So they have a second round of puzzles. Some easier, some challenging. The kids who were praised for their intelligence were much more likely to focus on the easier puzzles. Even though they'd been complimented for being smart, praising them for their smarts primed them to think they could not influence things and feared not completing a puzzle. So they were less motivated to push themselves. And they also said the experiment wasn't very fun. Okay, so the hard workers, the ones that said, oh, great job, you're such a hard worker, they were encouraged to frame their experience on self-determination, working on hard puzzles. So they worked longer and scored better and said they had a great time.
Wow.
So telling 10-year-olds that they worked hard has been shown to activate their internal locus of control because hard work is something we decide to do. Complimenting students for hard work gives them this belief that, they have control over themselves and their surroundings. So if you give the kid, hey, you're so smart, they have an external locus of control. So they don't believe that they can choose how smart they are. So those kids think that intelligence is this innate ability. So, telling them smart, it just reinforces that belief that success or failure, they can't control it. It's outside of them.
Even though I didn't know the answer, it makes total sense now.
Yeah. And when you start thinking about these studies, and I mean, it's not a very kind study. I mean, if you kind of already know what the results are going to be and you're just trying to prove it.
Well, it kind of raises ethical
Yes.
questions.
Yes. But
But
think about ourselves now as trainers. If someone tells you, oh, you are just so good at reading dogs. And then you kind of have this belief that, oh, I'm so good at reading dogs. And then, where does that put you? Is that something that you've learned as
Yeah.
a skill? Is that something that's innately in you? Or if you
Yeah.
say you've really worked hard to understand the dog's body language.
Yeah.
That little bit of a change, can help you kind of figure out where you want to be and how you want to have that locus of control.
Yeah.
I don't know, just things.
Yeah, no. That's actually, it's tickling an idea here. It's I don't know about you guys. Like when somebody gives you a compliment, how do you feel? Like for me, I feel like I can't take it. Like I'm not good at compliments.
Okay,
right?
There's an episode about that, and if anybody listens to the ambush episode,
we've had
ambush episode, you all did not handle compliments at all.
Right, exactly. Oh, that was like one of our recent episodes. Like this is where my brain is lately. And actually, I think I might have been going through some whole stuff with my blood issue. Yeah, a little health issue there. So I don't even remember the episode all that much. But anyway, but if you think about it, right, not being able to take a compliment, I guess it depends. Sometimes maybe it depends on how it's being phrased.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Words matter, Stacy.
They do.
And it matters that you can accept those words as well. So whether they're good, bad, you get to, here's a quote. I love this quote. How you define yourself is your choice. How others define you is their choice. It's up to you to decide which definition you prefer. So I think that goes along with what you're saying. If someone gives you that compliment, you already have a definition of yourself or a definition of how you can perceive things. And so it's up to you if you want to accept that into your definition or not.
Yeah. Yeah.
So thank you is such a nice way to give yourself a breather to see if you want to accept that into your definition. Because then you don't have to argue about it. You don't have to be shy about it. You don't have to accept it. It's just a thank you to give yourself, digestion time.
So, I just remembered the thought that came in my head.
Oh, yay. Good.
I know. Crazy. It took a while.
Gave you just enough time.
Yeah, seriously. So we were talking about muddy definitions and everything with, terminology and all that. And I had in my head, I started thinking, I'm like, it's kind of like setting a hide. And if we set kind of a really crappy hide, right? It's really kind of muddy. And it's like, we really can't really, like the dog's kind of like, well, I've kind of sourced it. It's kind of like here, but it's like kind of not. I'm picturing, like what fabric does with odor or what plastic does with odor. You get kind of this like blob of odor, right? So when we're not specific with our words, it's like having a blob of odor, right? Rather than an area that we can actually source correct. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't know. That's where my head went.
I see it with generations. So even, communicating with high school students.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like the blob of odor, but
that is a total art in and of itself. Communicating with a different generation, because I'm texting with
different words. Like
and they use shortcuts on texting, and I was like, What's OFC stand for? It took
I only know KFC.
Exactly.
Order Fulfillment Center. Like that's what I thought it meant, was the Order Fulfillment Center.
Oh my gosh. When school blocked the Urban Dictionary for a while, I was like, oh no, how am I going to know what they're saying? I'm like, OMG, I'll be right back. I'm like, Urban Dictionary, what are they talking about?
Wow.
TTUL.
What?
Exactly.
And so, going back to the whole words matter, I think this is one of the reasons why, everybody's been listening to me long enough knows that I go on to terminology rants.
You don't.
I know.
No, you don't.
It's
so awesome, possum.
Yes. And everything from the conditioned reinforcer, that whole, it's not a bridge, all of those things. to, a marker. No, it's not really marker, but I will make concessions because it's really awkward to say conditioned reinforcer all the time.
We're allowed. How many swear words can we have in an episode?
I think 3.
Okay, go ahead. You can use one if you'd like.
It's okay. I think they've probably picked up my angst.
It's not a conditioned reinforcer, damn it. I'm sorry. I just used that
Yes. For the
so
whole
you have 2 left.
Yes. And so I just, and then we get back into, I know in the last episode, one of the things that we did talk about was, how do you actually look at putting yourself out there all the time? And right. Yes. And
Crystal's like, I don't want to put myself out there all the time. I'm done putting myself out there. Like, stop it already.
It comes down to, Crystal, the whole, how do other people define you? And when you start putting yourself out there all of the time, you really come down to the fact that the only person who gets to define you is you.
Right.
Yep.
But, it's so hard when you realize that maybe something that you're saying, okay, so here's a poor Robin and Stacy got an earful. And
you guys just get to hear it on air kind of thing.
Yes.
It happens all the time anyway, so we might as well just record it.
Well, in our, I'll say I don't even know what to call it. Again, words are so hard because labels are good sometimes and they're bad sometimes. Like some people would say the positive reinforcement community, cookie pushers, whatever you want to call me.
Yeah.
And so whatever, and then like, where are you in that spectrum and blah, blah, blah.
Or is it a spectrum or is it a gradient?
Yeah, I know. And so statements like, in Bitey world, there just aren't that many of us that do positive reinforcement based training. And so we're kind of figuring this stuff out as we go. There's not like a protocol, it's just fly by the seat of your pants, get a progression plan, see if it works, try something new, and collaborate with the few of us that are there in this little fun experiment that we're doing. And even those words can get so twisted. And reading some acquaintances and friends' posts about how, even saying that we're saying that we're trying to be special or that we're just trying to do something different. And I think that's missing the reason. And then it's like, does it really matter? No, but it's good to know what people perceive, I think, sometimes. So at least you know where everybody's coming from.
Oh, yeah.
And then, hearing that that we try to say that that it's easier with tools. And I think that it is easier with corrective tools because there's a lot of coaching and teaching out there of how to use these tools to get success to really high levels. And there isn't the coaching and the help to get to high levels without the tools. So I don't know how you could not say that not having the tools is easier. I mean, just in the fact of the lack of guidance at this point. Yeah. So it just got me really twisted around. And then I got really in my head and I was like, you guys, I don't think I can do the podcast stuff anymore because I'm getting so in my head and I'm so worried about how people are taking words. And then that's kind of this whole like, blah.
Yeah. And
I think we all get there at some point where we just start getting too concerned or too in our own head. I mean, hopefully I'm not the only one out there.
Yeah, and then we just kind of shake you and you're like, well, you're showing up anyway, so it just doesn't matter. We're talking about the stuff we're going to talk about.
Here I am again.
Okay. And then you go, okay. And then we show up
on a Monday night.
And then we're like, okay, we'll do it again next week. And you're like, okay. And it's all cool. I think
because I enjoy you too. Like I love you guys. And so
yes,
if I get to spend this time with you, it's worth it.
I think what you're saying is that words are loaded sometimes.
Oh.
Right.
Yeah. Well, they're perceived so differently than sometimes they're intended.
Right.
Or even like, I don't think about all the different angles. Sometimes I just say what comes to my heart. And man, it sucks when you realize it's something that came to your heart that you felt was okay. You found out that has now affected people. And that's not good. That doesn't feel good.
No.
Sensitive little empathetic soul that I am.
and this would be why one of the things that happens, you run into, I've been seeing a whole bunch on Facebook about, if you need to lighten your day, here's the number of a 1-800 phone call that you can make where some fifth graders give you advice.
Really?
And it's like, rainbows are jealous of you. And, fun little lighthearted things of that aspect, because what happens, when you're 5, you just kind of tell the world how it is. And
wait, did you say a 5th grader or did you say 5-year-old?
Because they're 5-year-olds.
Oh, that's very different than a 5th grader.
Yeah. 5th graders can be mean.
Well, they're just laughing at you behind your back.
Yeah, exactly.
They're just like, an adult. Like, hello, you're old. That's the loaded word right there.
It is old.
Yeah.
they'll call people who are like 28 old. So
that's bad.
I know.
so when we start getting into the professional world, and even with the dog training world, one of the hardest things is to be able to create a space where people feel comfortable and safe enough.
Yes.
That they understand that when you are trying to give them feedback, it is from a place of, love and wanting them to be better. And it's not meant to be derogatory. And it's hard to create the space, which I'm super proud that we did that at Distraction Camp, and for Inspire, and for some of the other trainings that are held here at the foundation. And I know, Stacy, you work really hard to do that in your classes.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
And because the world is hard.
It is. And I've noticed, like, this goes back to like the loaded words. Like, I'll give somebody feedback in person or whatever. And it's more like analytical feedback. So I'm just trying to analyze what's going on or analyze the situation. And I can read in their face that they're internalizing it differently than I'm trying to say. And it's usually because of the history that they have with maybe those words, or maybe even just like their history with their own dog, or perceptions or what have you. And I'll literally say, this is not a criticism.
Correct.
This is not being critical at all. And sometimes even saying, I'm actually like, it's actually a compliment, right? Or something like that. It's not criticism, but it's so easy to take words and interpret it the wrong way. Like, here's an example, right? The word high drive is extraordinarily loaded.
Yes.
Because people automatically assume if you refer to a dog as high drive, that's a positive thing. Right? Not always. No.
Not always.
A lot of times, and I'll even say, like, the dogs that tend to do the best in nose work are moderate drive dogs. They
thinkers.
Just are, right?
Yes.
But if you use a word high drive, people kind of start to think like, oh, well, if my dog's not high drive, like, you're putting my dog down. And I'm like, well, no. I'm just saying, if you actually do have a high drive dog, first of all, bless you.
Yes.
You'll get through it. You're going to
learn a lot.
Yeah.
You're going to learn a lot. You're going to tear your hair out. You're
like
probably going to hate your dog every so often. I hate to say that, but sometimes they're like, I'm just like, just stop already. Just calm down, right? I love you, but you're driving me up the wall.
Yeah. And the connotations of so many words now.
It's the connotations.
So saying reactive. I mean,
that's the other word, right?
That's a huge one. And it's like, no. I'm not saying that your dog is going to go eat other dogs. I'm just, it's reactive to that noise. It's not reactive to the world.
It's funny because people will, well, I have a reactive dog. My first question, what do you mean by that?
Right. Yeah. Right.
Because until we start having this conversation, we tend to live in constructs.
Yeah.
Of all of these, this is what a reactive dog looks like. This is, reactive to who? How do you know that it's not afraid? You think it's aggressive.
It becomes a judgment, like, where reactive is bad. I'm like, well, no, it's not.
It's information.
Exactly.
so-
it's not a bad dog because the dog's reactive. It drives me crazy.
And there's a local executive coach who actually has one of her branding things is always remain chronically curious.
I like that.
And she's got another great book out, which we'll include in the show notes because I will totally give her a shout out about dealing with conflict in the workplace. And it's called Don't Feed the Elephants. You have to be curious about all of these situations. And so when people come work with me, I'm always asking, well, how did you get to this point?
Yeah.
Because not only does it give me a really, really good idea of what you might have accidentally trained in, but it also gives me, well, what have you done? So we don't go down that path again.
Right.
And that's when words matter. And when, as an instructor or a coach, I start asking a lot of questions, because until you can clearly define the problem that you're having, I can't help you with it.
Yep.
And so that comes back into the self-talk that we have, even like me having the conversation of, okay, my goal tomorrow is to get the labs out and we're going to do some marks tomorrow. And I want to run each dog through about 3 marks. And it was a very specific goal setting sort of thing so that I could have a clear box to check, because you know what? I'm type A. So I have to have to-do lists.
You're type A?
Well, and that self-talk you just said too, I think I hear so many people say, I'm going to screw this dog up and I'm so hesitant to do this thing. And if you can just think of the opposite and bring the other energy to it, it's not about screwing them up, but I can't wait to teach this dog, or I can't wait to see how much they can learn.
And for every single person out there who is in listener land, who is like, I just got this brand new puppy and I'm not going to make any mistakes with this puppy. And my whole comment to you is, yes,
sorry,
I just had 3 puppies and I made mistakes with all of them that were different than the mistakes with all of the puppies that I made previously, because they're never the same dog. You will make different mistakes. It's okay. They will forgive you. Except if it's a Dutch Shepherd or an English Lab, or a British Lab.
Or if it's female.
Or if it's female.
That's right, because they're judging you.
They are judging you.
I'm sorry, but that whole...
There was a study out, in case you missed it, on
and
our
it broke the
Facebook page.
internet.
It did break the internet, that female dogs are judging
our
you.
little corner of the internet.
Okay. Yes.
Isn't that the internet?
Oh, okay.
Whoa. Yeah, no, seriously. Like everybody was sharing. It's like that the female dogs are judging you. I'm like, well,
It was a study done, I think, in Japan on how that female dogs were more judgmental on people who could not open cans of food.
Right. They're judging your competence. And I'm like, yes.
They are.
And?
Yeah.
I was thinking one more thing from earlier. We talked about the labels we give ourselves, but I think we also need to be conscious of the labels we give our dogs.
Yeah.
So if we see our dogs as hardworking or as smart or any of these positive things we can do, instead of, oh my gosh, this dog is so dumb, or this dog, if you find yourself, like my friend always calls his dog an asshole. And it's like, yeah, well, can you think of your dog or see your dog in another way that might be a little more productive? And it does matter. Like, labels do matter.
Yeah. I call Brava Brilliant Brava.
Yeah.
She's definitely way smarter than I am.
This is why Sheba is called Honey Badger.
That's right.
Yes.
So be careful what you name them. That could be a whole new episode.
The name, I was going to say, because even Radish, I named her that because she's always rad and sometimes she's radish. So names are important.
They are.
Because I wanted to be happy. And even the cues that I gave Checkmate, they're like Franglish. So instead of, the French of is to down is coucher. So I say cushion. And to stand is supposed to be debout. And I say daybed. And why did I do that? Because it's silly and fun and it makes me smile every time. And so words do matter, So when I send my dog on a send away, instead of saying en avant, which is the French, I say autobahn. It's like run really freaking fast.
Everybody's looking at you like, you
What
didn't
are
read
you
the cue
doing?
book, did you?
Oh, they think
Like-
I'm just some dumb American probably that can't pronounce. I'm like, Aussie, cushion, David. When I want him to bark instead of au revoir, I say opera, So,
That's
and on the
great.
recall instead of yen, it's veins. And they're like, what? So it's just that I had great fun with it. And I never thought I'd compete. And now that I have to get on the field occasionally, I'm like,
Just
okay.
what-
As I
what did
check
she
in, I'm
just
like,
say?
I'm really sorry, Judge. I'm not mocking anything. I was just having fun and never thought we'd be here. Please don't judge my dog from my weirdness. But we're going to have fun today.
That's so funny. Words matter. Words matter.
Speaking of having fun today, I really had a lot of fun chatting with you ladies. Do you have any
Yes.
takeaways you'd like to share?
Dead silence.
I know.
Do you want me to start?
We're at a loss for
Sure.
words.
Okay, here's mine.
Da-da-da.
I was thinking a lot about intention and my little meltdown that I shared that I didn't think I was going to share, but I did. So there. But I like what you said about I perceive both of you as good friends. And then it's the whole stranger danger of I don't know the other ears out there. But I think from what you guys kind of gave me, you gave me this feeling that if I try hard to be friends with the people who listen, that it's going to help me feel and hopefully make them feel that, I am their friend and they know my intention and I don't have to beat myself up about my words.
I think you are
Because I'm going to screw up.
No, no.
I mean, everybody does a stuff. We're already on what? We're on episode 40, I think.
Yes.
you wear your heart on your sleeve and it comes out through the microphone too. And we love you, and I'm sure everybody who listens does too.
Aw,
Yeah.
thanks, friend. So what's your
So-
takeaways?
My takeaway is pay attention to what you say, how you say it, and what you mean behind it. And think about what comes out of your mouth when you actually say it to your dog and to other people.
And to yourself.
And to yourself. It's just because even if you don't mean something, when once it comes out of your mouth, it's out there, and it's hard to take stuff back. Like, it's just be thoughtful. I don't know.
Be kind.
Be
I don't know if
kind.
that's a great takeaway or not, but it's kind of what's in my head.
And I'm actually going to bounce off of that takeaway because one of the things when you have the wayward home for dog trainers at your house is that you end up having all sorts of really in-depth kind of weird conversations with people.
Yeah.
And you're taking
Probably like your husband is saying, why is that red trailer still in our driveway?
Yes.
Why is that white murder van still here?
and so
We're going to start charging them rent.
Crystal had
They're still here. Can we get a big gust of wind and just blow that
they're
camper out of here?
and so Crystal had a really good thing that I've actually been trying to work on too, is that I'm now an asker instead of a guesser. If somebody says something that I don't understand quite for where they're coming from, the question is, well, what do you mean by that? Don't immediately take it personally. Or I'm not going to guess on what time would you like me to show up? What time do you want me to be there? All of those sorts of things. So that's one of my takeaways, because words do matter. And the hardest part of understanding that words matter is when you start having this whole conversation in your head about who you are, what you do, all of these other things. That's actually a habit that you're creating.
Yeah.
And how you view and how you present yourself to the world. So in order to change that, you actually now have to do a whole bunch of different stuff. So that's why when we start talking about, own the fact that, you know what, my timing or my observation skills may not be super fantastic, but I'm going to work on them every chance I get. And one of the ways that I do that is I train behaviors that don't matter to my odor work. This is one of the reasons I really like directionals. And so just everybody be kind to yourself. Recognize those patterns that you're using, and really make sure that you're saying what you mean, because sometimes you don't mean what you say.
I'm going to piggyback on yours. Just one last thing.
Okay.
When you say be kind to yourself, I think that already that makes you kinder to others. So start with yourself.
Agreed.
Be nice to yourself already. You're amazing.
To your dog. And to your dog.
And to your dog. Okay. So thanks everybody for hanging out with us for, I'm hoping, is a fairly entertaining chat. Because we were kind of all over the place, but we appreciate you listening in. We've got some really cool interviews coming up in the next couple of episodes. So we're not going to do any spoilers.
It's a very, very cool one coming up.
So check out next week and make sure you check out the website. Have a great day.
Canine Detection Collaborative. We appreciate the time you spend with us. If you liked this episode, not only should you follow us so you don't miss the next one, but please also rate and review us in your favorite podcast app. For info on collaborating with us, go to k9detectioncollaborative.com. That's K9detectioncollaborative.com, where you can find our socials and pick up our latest monthly freebie. Join us again to talk training in the next episode.